I'm Erinn Montour from Six Nations of the Grand River. I was diagnosed December 19th, 2015 with stage 3C ovarian cancer. When I first got diagnosed with ovarian, I wanted to know everything. So when am I going to get sick, and when am I going to lose my hair, and what's going to happen? And I was prepared in the way that I was able to maintain my life. I had everything in place. I had time to prep my life and understand what I needed for chemo and put my support systems into place. Someone came to clean my house, someone walked my dog, someone was there to look after me at all times when I needed that. So I was prepared in that way. You'll never be prepared for what chemo actually does to you though, because everybody is different. So no matter how many times, when am I going to get sick after chemo, or what's going to happen, and what day am I going to lose my hair, what day am I going to feel good so I can go out with my friends, they're, like the doctor says, those are individual responses to your body. So you can never base that on someone else's opinion. You can only base it on how you feel after your first cycles. When I started chemo, my personal experience was my cycle 1, 2, and 3 were not that bad. My body didn't really feel anything. The first chemo, I went home and I laid down after my 8-hour treatment, and it actually felt like scrubbing bubbles. The little scrubbing bubbles were cleaning all my insides, and that's how I'll never forget that one day. It was literally like somebody was cleaning my insides. After that, rounds 4, 5, and 6, my body just didn't want that IP port. So it was hard on my body, and that's when it became mentally draining and emotionally challenging, where I don't want to do this. But I wouldn't be here today without doing it. So that was the hardest part of it. What helped me to get through a lot of my cancer journey, my animals got me through. I live by myself, but I always had my dog. That way I had to get up, and I had to get outside even in the winter just to go for a walk, get that fresh air, get moving, stuff like that. My mom lives next door to me, so she was able to come over and help. Ovarian Cancer Canada was always on the phone with me. I had a great healthcare team put into place where I had a lot of support inside and outside with that. My doctor, my oncologist, and his nurse were fantastic. All we did was laugh. I made sure we always had something to laugh about, whether it was, going away when I wasn't supposed to, or what I did on the weekend. I had to do something to keep myself going.
Good girl, Abigail. Yeah. But yeah, see, she makes me get up in the mornings. She makes me walk her all the time. But to me, that's the therapy.
I live by my daytimer. So with my daytimer, I was always busy, and I always tried to do something, and I always tried to get out. So having a goal every day, whether again, walking my dog or, playing in the snow or whatever it was, gave me a purpose to get up every day and keep on going. When my body told me I had to have a nap, I had a nap. But I still had to, I couldn't just lie on the couch and wait for the next day to come. So I always had something to do. I had backups at home where, okay, I wanted to watch this TV program, or I wanted to do this, but never did do it because I was always trying to stay active. And, I'd use a chair to sit down to cut vegetables or make my dinner and stuff like that. So I learned how to navigate through, but still be able to function on my own. And to me, those were short and long-term goals to get through the system. My hardest point in the entire journey was being told, you're in remission, goodbye. There was nothing. And that was the day I cried for the first time, because where do you go? You're so used to going to chemo, being sick, having this pattern. You're used to going to the doctors, you're used to getting your blood, but then you're told goodbye. I stayed in remission for 10 months before my cancer came back. So back in end of March, 1st of April, I kind of knew I didn't feel good again, but I was in the middle of a program that I was putting on, so I promised myself once that was over, I was gonna go and call the doctors on that Monday. And sure enough, I call my doctors, I say I'm not feeling good. I get into my next appointments, which was maybe they put me in 2 days later. And my oncologist said, no, you're fine. You just have a bladder infection, pee in that bottle, take it to the lab. We'll call you tomorrow to get you an antibiotic. I laughed at her. I'm like, I'll humor you, whatever. I don't care. I know I'm sick. And sure enough, that next day, your blood number just tripled and you have something, but we don't know what. So we're gonna do a CT on you. CT comes back, doesn't show anything. The following week, I go back for my results, and she does another internal and finds a great big mass. Lo and behold, I am now in recurrence, and I just finished cycle 1 of my chemo, and we'll start cycle 2 this coming Friday. I think fear will always be a part of going through this journey, whether it's the first time around, the second, probably the third still. I mean, ovarian cancer doesn't have great stats, and we know that. So how long are we gonna live? That's always gonna be the question. I went to chemo my first time this time around, and I straight out asked my nurses, so since you see this every day and you deal with this every day, what's my stats? Because you know the stats aren't great. So if I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna inject more poison into my body and try to extend my life and my well-being again, what's my stats? So that's my biggest fear, is where does this end? Where does this go? How many times can you stay in remission? How many times are you gonna go into recurrence? How long is this gonna be this time? What's gonna happen? How sick am I gonna get? Those are my fears. And you know, I just wanna be able to make it to next April to be at my daughter's wedding. But you know, my fear is, will I? We don't know, nobody knows. So, you know, my numbers dropped already, but how long is that gonna stay? You know, that's my fear this morning is, yeah, okay, great. But, so, I don't know. Fear is always going to be there, but it's a daily thing. And you learn to accept that fear is always going to be there after your first diagnosis. And you just, again, keep it on your shoulder, keep it on a shelf, but you keep being positive and you keep moving on. If you take life where, you know, you just live and you don't let this disease define you. So I just take life and I make my goals and I challenge myself. And that's how I live though. I just can't see anything different, where I know this is what I'm going to do. And I tell my doctors the same thing. Can you just hurry up and get me out of here? Can you go through my chemo? Can you do this? And you know, my chemo nurses, they laugh at me because it's like, we got stuff to do, let's go. You know, you never know what's gonna happen to me, but I don't sit down and dwell. I don't sit down and cry about it. It's, you know, if I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna be sick tomorrow. If I have to go to sleep, I have to go to sleep. But at the same point, my body's telling me that because I've just done everything I possibly can today. You know, if I run 12 hours a day, even though I've just finished chemo, last Saturday, I went ziplining. Finished chemo on Friday, went ziplining on Saturday. You know, I don't stop living my life. And I don't want other people to stop living their lives because they have this disease. There's things we can do without giving into it. And if we get depressed, that's where the disease is going to kill us. And I'm not going to go there with it. I believe cancer gave me a different voice. I'm not sure if, you know, a higher power is the one who threw this at me and said, this is your direction now, and this is what you're going to do, and you're going to become a huge advocate for cancer, ovarian cancer, First Nations, and cancer. I still cannot figure that out. But I would wake up in the mornings and say, I'm going to go back to going to work with my old job. And not a day would go by that I would not receive a telephone call from someone who just got diagnosed with either ovarian or cancer within our Six Nations communities. I need help. What do? I just got diagnosed. And it just became, I can't go back to my old job. I have to become the person that this cancer disease has put in my path now. And this is what I do every day when I wake up now. I fight for people with cancer.